It is a distinct physical sensation. You are staring at your phone, waiting for a reply that should have come hours ago, and your chest begins to tighten under a slow, invisible weight. Panic sets in over something entirely mundane. Or perhaps your reaction sits at the exact opposite end of the spectrum. Someone finally gets close to you, and your immediate, overwhelming instinct is to step back, turn cold, and build an impenetrable wall. Society has a habit of framing these intense reactions as permanent character defects. It is incredibly easy to look at your own behavior and conclude that you are simply bad at relationships, or that you are inherently too much for other people to handle. But those reactions are not personality traits. They are the outputs of a learned psychological program, a quiet set of instructions executing in the background of your mind every time you interact with someone you care about. Recognizing that you are operating on a subconscious script, rather than suffering from a broken personality, gives you a practical path to finally take control of your behavior. Clinicians refer to this background programming as attachment insecurity. It is a psychological template you built very early in your childhood to safely navigate the adults who raised you. This template calculates a single crucial metric: how much risk and emotional cost is required to experience vulnerability and closeness. As you grow older, it drops beneath the surface, forming the invisible foundation underneath every adult relationship. Because this early template is still running the show, it distorts neutral interactions in the present. It takes something as harmless as a slow text reply and flags it as an imminent, severe threat to your safety. You are attempting to process adult intimacy using survival calculations you made before you knew how to read. Your emotional reactions are being driven by entirely outdated data. That outdated data usually surfaces as one of two distinct patterns. The anxious pattern operates as a state of emotional hypervigilance, forcing you to constantly scan interactions and analyze your partner's tone for potential danger. This animated diagram demonstrates the anxious loop's core paradox. You send out signals desperately seeking reassurance, but when that comfort returns, you are structurally unable to hold on to it. The reassurance passes right through the system. The avoidant pattern operates as the exact inverse risk management strategy. Instead of seeking reassurance, it minimizes exposure through preemptive withdrawal. When someone gets too close, the protective barrier goes up. The individual goes emotionally cold and isolates themselves, mislabeling this deep-seated self-protection as true independence. You can find countless videos and quizzes online to help you label which of these patterns you use. But simply identifying your attachment style will not fix the underlying problem. Intellectual insight is powerless against a neurological survival strategy. You can understand exactly how the code works, but knowing your style does not magically rewrite the software. But because these patterns were learned, your brain retains the plasticity to learn something new. The pattern shifted once when you were young, and with the right approach, it can shift again. Rewriting the software requires active practice. Real change occurs when you execute a different emotional response in the exact moment the panic or the urge to withdraw hits. Attempting this alone often fails because the nervous system registers new, vulnerable behaviors as life-threatening risks. It triggers the same fight or flight response it is trying to solve. A professional environment provides the necessary co-regulation to keep the brain from slamming the emergency brakes during this practice. A licensed clinician achieves this using precise, evidence-based tools. Modalities like emotionally focused therapy for couples, schema-informed work, or trauma-focused therapy tackle the root of the pattern directly. Achieving a secure attachment style is a process of active structural rewiring. It relies on steady, objective feedback in a clinical setting to transform those new responses into a permanent baseline. Finding that controlled environment is exactly what coping and healing counseling provides. CHC is a dedicated therapy practice built around a diverse, culturally competent team of over 15 licensed therapists. Working with their licensed clinicians ensures that you get an accurate assessment of what is actually happening, including identifying if conditions like clinical anxiety or depression are layered beneath your attachment behaviors. This map shows how accessible this practice really is. CHC is a 100% HIPAA-compliant telehealth service. Every session is conducted via secure video, providing complete coverage to all 159 counties in Georgia. And as this data illustrates, The financial barriers to entry are incredibly low. Most commercial insurance plans, including Aetna, Cigna, and United Healthcare, require a copay of just $10 to $40 a session. And for those on Georgia Medicaid, the copay is exactly $0. You do not have to spend the rest of your life trapped by the survival calculations you made as a child. With the right clinical support, closeness does not have to cost you your peace. Reach out to chctherapy.com today.